If you're trying to lose weight, the method you choose isn't to the most important factor. Your biggest enemy will always be hunger. That's according to Dr. Jason Fung, a leading expert on weight loss. He explains that pharmaceutical companies discovered this long ago, which is exactly why drugs like Ozempic were created. I don't have a problem with Ozempic, he says, because what it teaches us is that weight loss isn't for years about burning calories. It requires about controlling hunger. Ozempic doesn't burn calories. Instead, it targets the real issue, why we consume so many in the first place. When you suppress hunger, you naturally eat less, and that's what leads to weight loss. But you don't need a drug to do that. If you can learn to manage your hunger, to recognize it, understand it, and keep it in check, you can control your weight without feeling deprived. Dr. Fung calls hunger a powerful metabolic tool, and his upcoming book, The Hunger Code, explores this idea in depth. It builds on his earlier work, The Obesity Code, by examining the true nature of hunger itself. When you think about overeating, it always comes down to one question: why are you eating more than you burn? The answer is simple: because you're hungry. But not all hunger is the same. Counting calories can't capture this difference. For example, 500 calories of soda and 500 calories of steak affect your body in completely different ways. Dr. Fung explains that hunger comes in several forms, but the most common, and most dangerous, is hedonic hunger. Research suggests that up to 80% of obesity cases are linked to this kind. Hedonic hunger isn't about physical need. It's driven by dopamine, the brain's pleasure chemical. It kicks in when you see, smell, or even imagine food, often right after you've eaten. It's not your body asking for energy, it's your brain chasing reward. When you eat to soothe stress, boredom, or sadness, you're not fueling your body. You're medicating your emotions. That's why so many people say they're addicted to chocolate, chips, or ice cream. No one ever says they're addicted to salmon or apples. These highly processed foods hijack your brain's reward system, making you crave more, even when you're full. Dr. Fung calls them dopamine bombs. Snacks, sweets, salty fries, greasy meals. They light up your brain's pleasure center like fireworks. Your brain screams, "This is amazing. I want more," even though your body doesn't need it. Over time, this cycle becomes an addiction, just like drugs. To overcome hedonic hunger, you must not only avoid these foods, but also the triggers that awaken your cravings. Ads, smells, habits, even routines, like eating at the same time every day. These subtle cues silently condition your brain to expect pleasure on schedule. That's the hidden danger. And according to Dr. Fung, it explains most cases of modern obesity. Because the real secret to weight loss isn't about willpower. It's about learning the code your body runs on, the hunger code, and finally taking back control from the cravings that have been controlling you. The Pavlov effect. Why you feel hungry, even when you're not. When you're exposed to certain cues, your brain automatically prepares you to eat, even if your body doesn't actually need food. This idea goes all the way back to the famous Pavlov's dogs experiment. In the early 1900s, scientist Ivan Pavlov discovered that his dogs would begin to salivate whenever they heard a bell, even if no food was present. The dogs had learned to associate the sound of the bell with mealtime. Over time, just hearing it triggered a physical hunger response. Humans work the same way. This is what psychologists call a conditioned response. Your brain learns to associate certain stimuli with eating. If you always eat lunch at noon, simply walking into the cafeteria or seeing the clock strike 12 can make you feel hungry, even if you're not. So, To control this type of hunger, you have to learn to avoid the triggers that spark it. Conditioned hunger. The habit you don't notice. Dr. Jason Fung identifies this as the second major type of hunger, conditioned hunger. It's not about your body needing food, it's about habit and routine. This kind of hunger usually comes on suddenly and lasts only 15–30 minutes. But here's the problem. Most people can't resist it. You might not be truly hungry, but your brain has learned to expect food at certain times or in certain places. The key is to break the pattern. Keep yourself busy for 30 minutes until the urge fades. If it feels unbearable, have a cup of green tea. Its natural polyphenols can help suppress appetite and calm your cravings. The power of your food. Environment, your surroundings, and the people around you influence your eating habits more than you realize. Research shows that your environment often outweighs genetics or diet in determining body weight. Dr. Fung points out a striking example. A Japanese person living in Japan has a very low risk of obesity. But if that same person moves to California, within a generation or two, their obesity risk becomes equal to that of an average American, even with the same genetics. Why? The difference lies in the food environment. What's available, what's considered normal, and how often people eat. In the 1970s, obesity rates in the United States were far lower than they are today. The human genome hasn't changed since then, but the environment has. Ultra-processed foods are everywhere, people eat more often, and social norms around food have shifted dramatically. Studies show that if a close friend becomes overweight, your own risk of gaining weight increases by 171%. If a sibling gains weight, your risk rises by about 40%. That's how powerful social influence is. So if you're trying to manage your hunger, guard your environment. Avoid fast food-heavy areas during the early stages of change. Limit time with friends who constantly snack or eat junk food. It might sound harsh, but your surroundings directly shape your success. Homeostatic hunger. The real, healthy kind. Finally, Dr. Fung describes homeostatic hunger, the third and most natural type. This is real, physical hunger. Your body's way of signaling that it needs fuel. It doesn't come from stress, boredom, or triggers. It builds up gradually. You might feel a soft rumble in your stomach, a bit of weakness, or light fatigue. And here's the difference. When you're truly hungry, you're happy to eat simple food. A hard-boiled egg, plain meat, or vegetables. That's because homeostatic hunger is hormonally regulated. It begins with the hormone ghrelin, which tells your brain it's time to eat, and ends with leptin and insulin, which signal that you're full. However, for about 89% of people who gain weight, this "I'm full" signal doesn't reach the brain properly. That's where problems begin. Dr. Fung's advice? Don't fight homeostatic hunger. Feed it wisely. Choose real, nourishing foods, protein, healthy fats, eggs, vegetables, olive oil, meat. Recognize true hunger, respond to it with intention, and your body will naturally balance itself. When you eat this way, you don't need pills, crash diets, or calorie counting. Because once you understand your body's hunger codes, the triggers, the habits, and the real signals, the fat doesn't stand a chance.